Hey guys, this is John from US Dash Camera. Today I got a review on the new Anker Roav Dashcam C2 Pro. So now if you remember the other Roav dash cameras, there was a C1 that had the wedge-shaped design, and it's very similar to the new S1. This is the third model that uses that design. Original one was the C1, then the C1 Pro. So then they released the C2, which is this digital camera style form factor, and now we have the C2 Pro. So with the C1, it used a Sony Exmor image sensor with 1080p 30 frames per second, and then the C1 Pro used OV4689 or something image sensor that gave it 1440p, and you can see here I noticed that the packaging has a typo. It says Sony Exmor sensor, but I know for a fact, I checked the specs on the website and everywhere, it is the Sony Starvis. The Exmor is the older generation image sensor, and I find it funny that they have a typo right on the front of the box. So there you can see full HD 1080p, so no 1440p like the C1 Pro, but it should have 1080p 60 frames per second, and with the Starvis image sensor it should have good, possibly better night quality than any of the other models that don't have the Starvis. It does have built-in GPS. Looks like got a temperature rating is up to 158 degrees, as low as -4. Share online, I believe that just means with the built-in Wi-Fi you can share to social media or whatever your video clips. So this one does have Wi-Fi, where the C2 originally did not. They ended up releasing a cheaper A1 model which looked similar but was smaller in size and had Wi-Fi, but it didn't have audio alerts. So you lost some features while gaining some features, while it looks like this one's going to have all the features other than 1440p like the C1 Pro. Now I'm not going to go too in depth with the Wi-Fi app because I've done it in pretty much every Anker video. So it does let you view a manual. Of course you can view your files, you can watch them on your phone, or you can save them to your phone. You can of course change the settings of the camera. Since all of the Anker cameras have screens, you can do this either on your phone or on the camera. And there you can see there's emergency recording, so that's pretty standard in a dash camera. Basically it's saying if it senses an impact, it can lock the file. So like all of the other Anker Roav dash cameras, I did buy this one with my own money. I tried asking Anker if they would send me some. They have a program for sending review units out, and they told me my reviews weren't in-depth enough, which I think I would personally disagree with that, seeing some other people's reviews. But anyways, I still really like their products, so I continue to buy them, which just for review, which is why if you guys use my affiliate links down in the description, it always helps me because then I can buy more like this. Now one thing to point out is this does use a battery like all other Anker Roav dash cameras. Most people prefer a supercapacitor, but the reason this one has a battery is it uses the battery for its parking mode, which now a lot of cheaper cameras are using this style of parking mode where it uses the internal battery to get 20 or 30 or so recordings while it's in parking mode. But it's not buffered recording, so when it senses an impact, it starts recording after the impact. This isn't going to be ideal in super hot climates. It seems to be they seem to be doing okay though in a lot of hot climates. The first generation of the C1 had issues, and they seem to have fixed that. I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything recently though, so it's hard to know for sure. So again, this is a digital camera style dash camera. You know, it's a little weird. It doesn't even look brand new. It's a little dirty. And yeah, there wasn't anything covering the screen. So let's see what else is in the box. It does have a 32 gigabyte Samsung micro SD card, which is always nice. The Pro models have always come with a memory card. Let's see if we can get this in. Samsung memory cards are the ones I typically use now. Alright, what is this? Okay, so for some reason it looks like this was supposed to be on here. Now I bought this brand new, so I find that strange. You know, now that I think about it, the thing covering this was a little creased too, so I don't know if this was a returned unit. It couldn't have been, because I just cut the plastics wrap off of it, so yeah, that's very strange. Just mentions the memory card in here. Says you should format it in there. Alright, so we got typical accessories. Well, that's interesting. So this came with the Anker charger with the little IQ ports. The S1 came with just a really plain Roav looking one. Here you can see micro USB. So here is the suction cup mount. Actually, now that I see this, I've just remembered that since it has the external GPS, so we'll attach that like that. This will connect onto there. So that'll connect to there. And then this will connect to here, which is a terrible design. Oh, I see. Okay. So it's not as terrible, I guess. It does go left now. I was thinking it was going to go down. So when you suction the cup, it sticks up. Gotta say, it doesn't feel that high of quality. Now, I did buy this, like I said, and this was $150. To me, that's pretty expensive. Feeling it right now, it feels a little cheap. Not really liking the feel of that. And then, so you can have it, this cable go to the left down your driver's side A-pillar. And then to your USB port. All in all, you know, this isn't a very elegant design, but that's the problem with these digital camera style dash cameras with GPS when they have the GPS in the suction cup mount. Now, for how much it costs, and being the fact that this is Anker, I wish that it would have a mount like the Vantrue N2 Pro, which it doesn't have something goofy like this. It has a connector in there. So I really feel like Anker is just going the cheap route here, and I'm not too impressed with this. And of course we do have a little tool to help install this into your headliner. Now, I'm not going to go over the menu much. It's pretty standard, just like most other dash cameras. There are a couple unique features I'll touch on. But it is worth pointing out, earlier in the video, in my recording, I had said this would do 1080p 60, which is not true. This only does 1080p 30, which is very disappointing. This is for a $150 camera. I would expect at least either 1080p 60 or 1440p. Now there is one unique feature that I'm going to touch on here, and we'll slow the video down for a sec. Night vision enhancement, balance panorama license plate mode. This is pretty new, haven't seen this before. Let's try license plate mode. Now there are more watermark options than any of the other Anker cameras, so let's take a look at that too. Watermark. Let's turn these all on. Got logo, date, and GPS. So with S1, the watermark I believe is just the company logo. So this gives you more options to actually put the GPS, date, or logo on or off independently of each other. So I really like that. So let's skip ahead and get to the video, because I'm sure that's what most people want to see. Now, I did set it to the license plate mode while recording during the day, and to be honest, I wasn't very impressed. The Sony Starvis image sensor isn't really going to improve anything during the day, but the 1080p 30 just doesn't look that great anymore. Maybe a couple of years ago this would have been adequate, and maybe if this camera was $70 or $80, then maybe it would be justified, but the picture quality just isn't good enough in my opinion for a $150 camera. Now, you can read license plates with cars up close, but sometimes, like in this example, which might not translate very well on YouTube, I could just barely read the license plates on the cars to the right with the raw footage. Now, the nighttime is pretty decent actually. The Sony Starvis image sensor does excel in low light conditions, but again, you're not going to be able to read license plates at night. That's typical with even really nice cameras though. Typically when you're driving around at high speed especially, it's just virtually impossible to read license plates unless they're right in front of you or moving slow or stopped. But overall, for a camera with a Sony Starvis image sensor, this is what I was expecting. But again, overall, this camera to me is just way too expensive for what it is. This does have the same chipset or CPU as the original C2. So I don't know if maybe it's possible that since this is using the same CPU as the old C2, but it added Wi-Fi and GPS, maybe it doesn't have the processing power to do 1080p 60 or better video quality, because the new S1 model has Wi-Fi and GPS and the Sony Starvis image sensor, but it does 1080p 60 and it gives it a slight edge. So not only does the S1 have slightly better video quality, the MSRP is $40 less, and the camera is a much more sleeker, stealthy form factor with a wedge-shaped design. So unless you really, really want a suction cup camera, I don't see why you would pick this over the S1. There's also the C1 Pro, which is $130, so $20 less than this, that doesn't do 1080p 60, but it does do 1440p. Some people have argued that comparing this, or the C1 and this C1 Pro, there's not much of a difference with the 1440p. But either way, all of these other cameras are cheaper and arguably better quality, at least in video. So I think the C2 Pro for me is the first Anker dash camera where I really wouldn't recommend it. If you guys disagree with me, of course, comment down below, but it just seems like this camera has all of the worst aspects. Like, yeah, some people do want a suction cup mount, but personally I would take the wedge design. But say you do want this form factor, the GPS suction cup mount feels really cheap. The Vantrue mount is so much better. I really wish Anker would do a little bit more, put a little more effort into making a mount like what Vantrue did. And it has the most adequate or least adequate video quality. So, and it's the most expensive camera. So it's just, to me, it doesn't add up. I still like Anker products and the Roav product line for the most part. Of course, the one big negative is they do all still have batteries. I think the Pro line needs to get rid of the batteries and do a different type of parking mode, because this still has that same parking mode where it's just motion based, or excuse me, impact sensor based, and it'll start recording a couple seconds after the impact using the internal battery. Now, the one positive this camera does have, I would say, and same with the C2, is it does have a higher resistance to heat. Both C2 models and also the A1 model they're rated up to 158 degrees, where the wedge-shaped cameras are all rated to 149 degrees. And I assume that's because those cameras are hugging the glass, so they probably get the beating sun on them a lot more. But I can't really see that 9-degree difference being that important to most people. Most people, if they care enough about the temperature, are going to buy a camera with a supercapacitor, which is much better in hot climates and also cold climates. So anyways, I hope this video was helpful for you guys. I'll provide links down below to where you can purchase any of the Anker cameras. And obviously from this review, I'm not recommending this camera based on the features, the video quality, and the price. It just doesn't make sense to me. Now, I still recommend the other cameras. I'd say the S1 or C1 Pro are the two best options. They're also the next two most expensive beyond this one though. So look for those links down in the description. If you like this video or my other videos, I'd appreciate if you hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. And of course, as usual, drive safe. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.